As League of Legends players, we often like to shorten some words. These are the abbreviations you'll come across often. Starting with stats, instead of attack damage, we say AD. Instead of ability power, we say AP. Instead of magic resist, MR. Instead of armor penetration, RPen. Instead of magic penetration, MPen. And instead of attack speed, we say AS. We also do this with regards to items. For example, for Phantom Dancer, we say PD. Instead of rapid fire cannon, we say RFC. Instead of Infinity Edge, we say IE. Instead of Bloodthirster, we say BT. Instead of Blade of the Ruin King, we use Bork. Instead of Guardian Angel, we say GA. Instead of Quicksilver Sash, we say QSS. Instead of saying Rabadon's Death Cap, we say Hat. Instead of Morellonomicon, we say Morellos, because it's easier. Instead of Rod of Ages, we say Roa. Instead of Trinity Force, it's just Triforce. Instead of Death's Dance, it's just DD. And we also do this for almost every single boots. For example, instead of Mobility Boots, we say Mobies. Instead of Boots of Swiftness, we say Swifties. Instead of Mercury's Treads, we say Mercs. Instead of Sorcerer's Shoes, we say Sorks. Instead of Berserker's Greaves, we say Zerks. Instead of Ionian Boots of Lucidity, we say Cooldown Boots or CD Boots. And instead of Plated Steel Caps, we say Tabbies, which comes from them previously being called Ninja Tabbies. We also abbreviate a number of mechanics in the game. Instead of auto attack, we say AA. Instead of cooldown, we say CD. Instead of ability haste, we say CDR, which is based off when it used to be called cooldown reduction. Instead of outer mana, we say Instead of abilities that hit multiple targets, we say AoE, which stands for area of effect. Instead of backing, we say B. Instead of damage over time, we say dot. Instead of creep score, we say CS. And instead of crowd control, we say CC, which is when you basically stop a champion from doing what they want to do. There's also a good few champions in the game that are often abbreviated or simply called something else. For example, instead of Twisted Fate, we say TF. Instead of Jarvan the Fourth, we say J4. Instead of LeBlanc, we say LB. Instead of Misfortune, we say MF. Instead of saying Warwick, we just use 2 Ws. And instead of Heimerdinger, we say Donger. In addition to all these, if you say egg, you mean Anivia. If you say mummy, you're talking about a Mumu. If you say cow, you're talking about Alistair. If you say bear, you're talking about Volibear. If you say rat, you're talking about Twitch. If you say kitty, you're talking about Rengar. And if you say devil or Satan or honestly anything more offensive, it's probably Teemo. We also abbreviate a ton of other more generic game terms. For example, instead of saying attack damage carry or ability power carry, we say ADC or APC. If someone disconnects from the game, we say they've DC'd. Instead of saying someone's dying on purpose or intentionally feeding, we say they're inting. Instead of kill steal, we say KS. A very common one is when your opponent is missing from your lane. When this happens, we say SS, which is often typed in chat. This is short for missing, but it basically says, watch out, my opponent may be coming to kill you. Instead of summoner spells, we say sums. And instead of teleport, we say TP. We also use a ton more generic abbreviations, such as instead of saying good game, we say GG. Instead of saying bad game, it's BG. If you're wanting to go a step further, instead of saying easy game, we say GG easy or GG izzy. In addition, if we've got high latency or high ping, we say we're lagging or have lag. If a champion is incredibly strong, instead of saying they're overpowered, we say OP. And if we're killed in an unlucky way, such as random critical hit, we say it's RNG, which stands for random number generation. These are the terms I come across all the time, but I'm sure there's many more I haven't included. So if there's any I've missed that come up all the time, or just any that you and your friends use, let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure we'll all have good fun reading them.